Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Robbie Rhino, and in today's video I have two replays for you in the Centennial Chieftain T95. So this is a British Western Alliance Era 1 heavy tank. It's a premium tank and you have a chance to win the tank in question with a giveaway that is going alongside today's video. The first prize is obviously the tank in question, but there is also a runners-up prize of the Hildr Commander, a free skill hero commander. It's a 3D commander, and all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning either the tank or the commander is comment down below on this video with your gamer tag and your platform and let me know which prize or prizes you are in for, and I'll announce the winners on Friday the 28th of April at 11 PM UTC, and I'll let everyone know who has won on my Twitter in the pinned comment of this video and as well as the description of this video. So good luck to those of you who are entering the giveaway. And now we can talk a little bit about the Centennial Chieftain T95. So when I first made a review of this vehicle, which is on my channel, and I'll try and remember to link that above now, I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. It's a pretty solid tank, but I picked it up again and it seems to be performing exceptionally well, and I had to check there wasn't a tanks reforged or a tank balancing to improve the stats, but there isn't. It just seems to be performing so much better for me, and the DPM combined with the great gun depression, the pretty decent armor, seems to be performing really well. So I'm really happy to be able to put out a giveaway for this vehicle. The only reason I took it out, dusted it off in my garage, was because I am giving it away. And yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. So I'll be telling you a little bit about this vehicle in today's video over these two games that hopefully demonstrate the kinds of damage results you can expect and the kind of playstyle you should adopt in the Centennial Chieftain T95. So we'll start with the bonuses, as it is a premium tank. You have a 50% silver bonus, a 25% XP bonus, and you have a 10% commander XP bonus, which is pretty nice. And if you're new to the game, this is a pretty forgiving tank with some nice armor, a great gun, and it's always nice to make a little bit of extra XP, commander XP and silver to get you going in the game. In terms of the raw stats, we're going to have a quick overview of the stats of the Centennial Chieftain T95. So you have 2,200 hit points, which for Era 1 is actually quite a big slug of hit points. Something like the T95E3, which is the very, very popular Western Alliance premium medium tank that almost everyone plays because it is very, very powerful, has 2,000 hit points, so 200 more than that vehicle. You have 445 meters view range, which isn't fantastic, but it will be enough as you're going to be adopting more of a brawling kind of ridgeline warrior style gameplay. In terms of the mobility, a little bit disappointing, but that is because it's a heavy tank and you do have some pretty substantial upper hull and turret armor. You can go 45 kilometers an hour forwards, just shy of 21 kilometers an hour in reverse, with a power to weight ratio of 14.61, which is kind of comparable to the T95E3 medium tank. You have a 90mm gun with an excellent 1.8 seconds of aim time, 0.27 accuracy, 6.4 second base reload with a 2.6k DPM. You have 10 degrees of gun depression, which is very nice for ridgelines on maps like here on Heilbronn, and you have 20 degrees of gun elevation. In terms of the ammunition, you fire AP as standard, APF SDS as your premium ammunition choice, and you fire HE as your third ammunition choice. You have very nice shell velocity on all three of your rounds. You have 1,143 meters a second on your AP and your HE, and your premium APF SDS goes at 1,570 meters a second, which is the best out of all of the Era 1 premium tanks. So that's very nice for sniping in mid to long ranges, and it does have some pretty nice penetration as well. So you should be able to get used to leading targets at mid to long ranges, especially if you are a less experienced or you're a new player. Lastly, in terms of the alpha damage, 280 on your standard and premium rounds and 370 if you use the HE. 262mm of penetration on your standard rounds, 304mm of penetration on your premium APF SDS, and 90mm of penetration on your HE rounds. So I'll give you a few extra things you might want to know about this tank before we finish this gameplay and then get stuck into the next one. In terms of the DPM, out of all 43 Era 1 tanks, it's 17 out of 43, so not too shabby for a premium tank. In terms of the DPM, out of all of the 7 Era 1 premium tanks, it's 4 out of 7, so again, kind of middle of the road, not too bad at all. In terms of the standard pen, you're the 3rd best out of all 7 Era 1 premium tanks. In terms of the premium penetration, you are 6 out of 7, but it's by no means bad. You're still able to penetrate pretty much everything you come across in Era 1. In terms of the view range, you are 6 out of 7 again, so a little bit disappointing there, but you are a heavy tank and you're going to be playing it sort of mid-range on ridgelines like we have in this gameplay, and it wouldn't be too much of an issue. You do have that very nice shell velocity, so standard shell velocity is 3 out of 7 premium tanks in Era 1, and you have that best in class premium shell velocity out of all 7 Era 1 premium tanks. So that's something very nice about the Centennial Chieftain T95. So unfortunately in this gameplay here on Heilbronn, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty bad defeat, although we did have a very nice personal result there in terms of our damage. It's just this T100 left, sat on a hill, and yeah, you're not long for this world when you're sat on a hill with the True Vision in play in Cold War, but let's have a look at how we did in that game. We finished with 3 kills, 5.8k direct damage, 1.4k assistance, finished top of our team by some way, and we had a profit with or without a premium account. So that's it for the first gameplay. We're now going to get stuck into the second gameplay. I'll talk you through the armour as it is a heavy tank, and then we'll get talking about the playstyle of this vehicle. So we're now into the second gameplay, and we're here on Dukla Pass in the Centennial Chieftain T95, and whilst we're making our way into position, you can get a good indication of the mobility of this heavy tank. Let's talk a little bit about the armour, and then I'll talk you through how I like to play this vehicle and give you my final thoughts on the vehicle itself. So in terms of the armour, it's pretty much identical to the World War II Tier 8 Chieftain T95, but the cupola has been buffed. So the cupola on this version, the Cold War version, is 152mm thick, and that is pretty thin, and it is a very big cupola. So if you are shooting this thing, go for the cupola, whether it's using the full extent of its 10 degrees of gun depression or not. That is the weak point you want to go for. But when it's on a ridgeline, it does have some very nice upper hull and some turret armour that can bounce quite a few shells. So in terms of the upper plate, it's an 85mm upper plate. So to pen the middle, if you were looking directly at this tank and its gun is pointing at you, you need around 180mm to go through. But to the sides on the upper plate, it's around 240mm of penetration needed to go through, so it does become stronger the more you sort of angle at a 45-degree angle, and there are some nice auto-ricochet angles for you to bounce off of the front of your tank, and it's especially good against light tanks that have low caliber guns and lower penetration. In terms of the lower plate, it's a 76mm lower plate, which you need around 120mm to go through when you're just looking at this tank. But if you're angling at like a 45-degree angle or more, you can get some auto-ricochet angles, and you can bounce a few shells off of tanks that have low caliber and poor penetration. In terms of the side armour of this vehicle, it's 38.1mm, which means that you're going to need a 115.3mm caliber gun or higher to overmatch. So you can side scrape against tanks that have 90mm caliber guns, for example, and you can side scrape against light tanks. Just be careful when you're side scraping against, you know, 120 or higher. You will get overmatched by a lot of those tanks if they hit your side, I should say. In terms of the turret armour, there are a couple of patches which are 254mm to the left and right of the gun, which you need around 300mm of penetration to go through, and for Era 1 that can bounce quite a few shells. So when you're using your 10 degrees of gun depression, make sure you're sort of moving side to side, backwards and forwards, and try and make your cupola as hard to hit as possible, and try and get people to ricochet off of the angled and sloped sides of your turret. You do have some sort of sandbags and things on this tank as spaced armor protection, which can reduce the HE damage that you take, so that is an added bonus. But overall it's fairly robust. It's definitely not armor you can rely upon time and time again, but it's definitely enough to bounce a few shells, and with that 10 degrees of gun depression, you are able to go down on a ridgeline, get into a position like we are here on Dukla Pass, and you can put this amazing gun to work. In terms of an equipment and commander setup, what do I run on this vehicle? Well, in terms of the equipment, I run advanced loader, improved ventilation and gun stabilizer. And in terms of my commander skills, I run 6th Sense, Born Leader, rapid loading, steady aim, rapid aim, snapshot, run and gun, armor angling and track mechanic. And that's just a recommendation for you for a setup for this tank, but of course you can tweak out some different things here and there, but I recommend that as a sort of good starting point. If you did run that exact setup, you'd be looking at a 1.63 second aim time, a 0.21 accuracy, 4.55 second reload and a 3690 DPM, which is very, very nice indeed. And I think it's a very good all-round sort of heavy slash heavily armoured medium tank, depending on how you want to play it. It's got enough mobility, a pretty punchy gun, penetration's fine, and yeah, I think it's a pretty decent tank, and if you win it, I think you're gonna really, really enjoy playing in this vehicle. So here on Dukla Pass, we are up by 3 tanks, but our base is under threat, so I'm gonna make my way back there to defend the base, as we do have our full 2200 hit points, which is quite a lot of hit points, like I mentioned in the first gameplay. And playstyle wise, how do you want to be playing this tank? Well, you want to try and find ridge lines where possible to make the most of your upper hull and your turret armor. Try and avoid people hitting your cupola, get on ridge lines, move side to side, forwards and back, and utilize this DPM as much as possible. You do have to put out quite a few rounds to get very, very, very high damage numbers, because of the alpha damage being lower than something like an FE 4005 or the T95E3, which has a 120mm or 105mm caliber gun, I believe. So yeah, you're definitely going to want to get into positions where there is crossfire and you can repeatedly put shell after shell into your opponent. And if you're fighting a tank that has a higher alpha damage, like this FE 4005, firstly, try not to get hit by them, but secondly, if you do get hit, put multiple rounds for every round that they put into you. You've got to try and trade multiple rounds for every one round that you are getting taken into this vehicle, and you'll find that this vehicle does very well with a very nice DPM indeed. So we are defending the capture circle there. We managed to reset the FE 4005. We dodged his round. I was willing to take a round here just to get the reset here on this TVP, who had all of the capture points. We take him out. As we know, the FE 4000 is reloading. I try and track him there, but aim in the completely wrong direction. But the great DPM and rate of fire means that we're able to take him out with a subsequent shot and then a little nudge just in case we low roll dramatically. And now we've turned that pretty bad situation into what looks like a guaranteed victory. There are 2 light tanks on the enemy team. I'm detected, and it can't be by that light tank in front of me, so there's definitely someone either in front or behind me, and it is this M41A1, and you have more than enough mobility to be able to get your gun and your hull around with this vehicle. When you have the same commander and equipment setup applied, you're looking at a whole rotation speed of 36 degrees a second, which is relatively slow, but your turret with the gun handling skills will be up to 42.36 degrees a second, meaning you're able to get your gun round on light tanks like that and yeah, take your team to victory. So we finish in second place in that game with 2 kills, 4.7k direct damage, 1.4k assistance, and a profit with or without a premium account again. So yeah, I highly recommend this tank for anyone who likes Era 1, wants to make a little bit of silver in Era 1, wants something with a good DPM, decent shell velocity on all of its round, and very nice shell velocity on its premium rounds. And yeah, a very nice all-round kind of heavy tank with a very punchy 90mm caliber gun. So just a reminder about the giveaway: you can win this tank or the Hildr 3D free skill Valkyrie Commander. Comment down below with your gamer tag and platform. Let me know what prize or prizes you are in for, and I'll draw the winners on Friday the 28th of April at 11 UTC on my Twitter, on the pinned comment on this video, and in the description of this video. So thank you all so much for your support. Good luck if you are entering the giveaway. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give me a like, and until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield, and bye for now.